Bend the knee. Valor Morghulis, every. So yeah, as stated before, we are talking about Rhaegar Targaryen, and I'll be honest with you, I expect today that I expect to lose a lot of supporters today. I know Rhaegar is a fan favorite, but I'm here not only to give my opinion about this man, but I also have to tell the truth because I think Rhaegar gets passes on a lot of the things that other characters in the story would never get passed on. All right, um, and I know this is going to be absolutely crazy, also because OBS was kind of screwing me over, so I think there's going to be like 3 or 4 versions of this damn thing on line after it's all said and done. I know it's fucking ridiculous at this point. But, shout out to everybody who's in the chat. Don't worry, I will be getting to your questions. And as you can see, I'm a little earlier than normal, you know, uh, uh, contrary to the myth about black people in time. Um, yeah. Look, I'm not trying to make everybody feel bad right now, but the Salt King is here. I gotta spread that salt around. You already know what it is. So, all right, Rhaegar. Look, a lot of people, when it comes to the whole A Song of Ice and Fire community, they love Rhaegar, and possibly because there's the whole romanticized thing. And look, for the most part, when it comes to human beings, we have this thing about you don't speak ill of the dead, right? So unless someone happens to be, like a child rapist or a fucking mass murderer or something like that, then normally the fuckery that you've done in life, as long as it's been kept to a minimum, people will kind of be like, all right, we're gonna leave that off to the side. We're not gonna talk about that too much. And this is kind of where Rhaegar comes in. So people talk crazy shit about his father, right? You know, he was cool, but then he he went mad. He was burning people, was raping his wife, doing all this crazy shit, and that's true, right? And that's the narrative that people wanted to spin. And Rhaegar, when it came to his actions with Lyanna, there is the public face in terms of the story that is spun by the Baratheons and the Lannisters. There's the private face, how some people view him in terms of like personal interactions and the way that's filtered to us through the story. And then there's obviously the truth somewhere in the middle, right? So let's look at before I get into total Bash Brothers territory on this one. Let's look at the good works of Rhaegar Targaryen. So Rhaegar was the son of Aerys the second, also known as the Mad King, and he was known to be a very bookish boy. And for those of you who do not watch, I mean, no, for those of you who only watch the TV show and don't really read the books, for the most part, what bookish means is somebody who likes to read. So someone more along the lines of Samuel Tarly. So pretty much Rhaegar was kind of a nerd. He liked playing the harp. He, would go to Summerhall periodically. That was the place where he was born. He would just go there. He would write songs and sit in the ruins. So by today's standards, he would be called emo. He would be called emo as fuck. You know, and you know, listen. Unfortunately, when it comes to emo kids in the real world, you got to kind of watch out for them. You know, because sometimes all that emo shit, it may be cool for a little bit, but you know, if that energy is directed in the wrong direction, you can have disastrous results. Um, so, you know, it is what it is. All right, so you know, people liked him because of the fact that he, especially in his later years, he was what people thought a royal should look like. You know, he was tall, he was handsome, he was winning at a bunch of tournaments. You know, he kind of had like the Baylor Breakspear kind of vibe going on, uh, but a little bit more mixed in with the younger Aegon the Fourth. Because remember, before Aegon the Fourth was hated, when he was younger, people actually did like him. You know, so Aegon the Fourth didn't get a bad rep until later on. But you know, he had a lot working for him in terms of public perception. So he gets married, you know, to Ilya Martell, has a couple of kids. But you know, along the way, he got this whole notion that he had to become a warrior. Now, he read something, and it hasn't been revealed yet as to what it was that he read. No one knows. And hold on, I'm gonna move this mic just a little bit closer, so hopefully you guys can hear me better. Because I don't know how this sounds on your end right now, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Anyway, so you know the public perception is he's this handsome prince. He marries Dornish princess. Now, mind you, Ilya apparently was not in the best of health. She was not the best for bearing children based on her body type and her general overall health. But she was able to give Rhaegar two kids, a boy and a girl. The youngest being Aegon, the older one being Rhaenys. And so, you know, Kingsguard loved him. The people loved him. Everybody loved him. But something about him, his father was like, yo, I'm not trusting this dude. And also, now I know his father not trusting him may not mean shit, but Varys didn't trust him. And, you know, look, we all know about the whole possible Blackfire thing when it comes to Varys. My only, and not even really objection to that whole thing, is just like, all right, well, that's what Varys was doing. Varys had whatever plans, but when it came to the whole tourney at Harrenhal, Varys had the presence of mind to say, hey, you know what, Ares, I think your son might be plotting something. And, you know, that was the you know, the whole reason for Ares going to Summerhall. I mean, not Summerhall, but the tourney at Harrenhal, to make sure that they couldn't try to plot to overthrow him. You know, which it's all good. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to have anybody forcibly remove me from my throne. But now here is where things start to get interesting. So when he wins the tournament, last tilt against Sir Barristan Selmy, Barristan the Bold, one of the bravest and greatest and most gallant knights ever in the Seven Kingdoms. With everybody staring there, he's got, you know, damn near all the most famous people in all the Seven Kingdoms sitting there with him, ready to go. And they're like, oh, wow, this is such a great thing. Look what the prince is doing. He rides right past his wife, the mother of his two children, and goes to a young girl named Lyanna Stark, who is betrothed to his cousin Robert Baratheon, and gives her the crown of winter roses, signaling her as the queen of love and beauty. Now, again, this is the guy who people loved. They say old smiles die. Wonder why? Because that was some absolute fuck shit that he did. He embarrassed his wife. He embarrassed his family. He embarrassed her family. He embarrassed Robert Baratheon. He embarrassed the Starks with that one move. He embarrassed a bunch of people with that one move. But yet people still want to give that man a pass. And then not only that, like I like recently, if you guys don't know, I got this ongoing mini feud with Rarist because she hates Peter Baelish for whatever reason. Because people just hate Littlefinger just to hate him. So people in the comments section have been doing battle with me, stating how much of a pedophile Peter Baelish is. Oh, he's going after a young girl. He's going after a teenager. He a grown man. He stay away. Okay, and I will agree. I am in my mid-30s. I'm not trying to go after no damn teenager. And I do believe that currently, based on the numbers in the story or whatever, I think I would be older than Peter Baelish is in the story right now. I think Peter Baelish might be like 32, 33, and I'm a little older than that. Uh, and but let's look at the man on your screen over here, Noble Prince Rhaegar, who at the time when it came to the tourney in Harrenhal, he was about 23 or 24 years old. And when he decided to pass up his wife for, you know, another woman, by by today's standards, your man will be a pedophile because Lyanna Stark was at the time either 16 or 17, and I'm gonna say that she may have even been younger because you know what, the tourney at Harrenhal took place about a year to a year and a half before the events at the Tower of Joy. Because I think it was like 9 months uh, before like the Battle of the Trident, and then like another few months before Ned actually found her at the Tower of Joy. So that means she was about 15, maybe 16, and Rhaegar was between 23 and 24 years old. But people want to get that man a pass. Oh, no, it was true love, blah, 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 blah. Fuck that. Rhaegar's a pedophile. Go ahead, give me a goddamn thumbs down right now. I don't care. uh, and look, let's just put it out there, um, because people like to paint this picture as though he was like the perfect prince. People have formed this romanticized view of Rhaegar in their heads, and not thinking like, yo, just go back and write down the attributes or the deeds that he's done on paper, and you tell me what makes him better than a Robert Baratheon. What makes him better than a Peter Baelish? What makes him better than a Tywin Lannister? I mean, the only thing you can say that makes him better is than Jaime Lannister is the fact that he didn't bang his one of his family members, but that's only because there wasn't one close enough. All right, so I'm not gonna give the pass that everybody else wants to give because it's like, oh my god, you know, yeah, just because he was you know, this gallant prince, this that and the third. I'm like, nah, man, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And even if you want to give him the pass and say, okay, you know, uh, in medieval times, Lyanna would have been considered a woman at like fucking 14 or some shit like that. He still cheated on his wife. He ditched his wife for another woman. Think about something. When the Lannisters came and sacked King's Landing, where was your boy? Oh, he was already dead. No, let's go back. When Brandon came to King's Landing looking for Rhaegar Targaryen, when he's like, "Come out, Rhaegar, come out so I can kill you." Where was Rhaegar? Rhaegar was nowhere to be found. So Brandon Stark winds up getting arrested. Rickard Stark comes down to, save his son. And nobody, and even at this point, think about it, right? Everybody puts what happened to Brandon and Rickard on the Mad King because he gave the orders, to have them executed in the way that they both died. But if it wasn't for Rhaegar, Brandon wouldn't come down to King's Landing, and Rickard wouldn't have had to come behind him. So, yeah, fuck that shit. I'm not excusing him on the bullshit. You can excuse him on the bullshit if you want to. Not this guy. All right. The target is on the goddamn hat, and I'm taking aim. I'm taking aim at the goddamn prince. You know what I'm saying? This is the Salt King talking here. Assault the high. You know. When I got to sprinkle that salt, you already know what's going down. Oh man. So, um, look, and it's not even I'm saying that Rhaegar is like the worst person in the world, right? Um, because there were a lot worse Targaryens. You got guys like Aerion Brightflame, who wanted to break the pup. He wanted to kill a damn puppeteer for doing the show where the dragon lost, which uh, crazy shit. Um, and I'm just looking at it in terms of, all right, well, look, man, Rhaegar might have done some charity work. He wasn't loud, boisterous kind of guy. He wasn't out there, torturing people. He wasn't doing, the shit that people considered to be evil. He wasn't doing all that. Um, you know, it's one of those things where look, I can't really just give this man a pass the way that a lot of people do because it would be like as someone who tries to play things down the middle. I think Rhaegar sometimes gets painted as a character that's not as gray as he actually was. And I think it's time that we expose the gray. We expose the gray on Rhaegar. That's what needs to happen. But you know what? I've done enough of my rambling from now on. We're going to take it to the chat. So if you guys got any comments or questions or anything, if you're here live right now, go ahead, put your comments in the chat box, put your questions in the chat box, and let's do this thing. I'm gonna be here for about another 40 minutes. I'm cutting out at 8:30 to prepare for other stuff I gotta do. All right. All right, let's look, see what we got in the chats. Frank Stanford. Let's see. Listen, home slice. I'm not drinking a Rhaegar Kool-Aid, but Tywin killed the Stark family at a wedding. Robert was okay with the killing of Rhaegar's kids, and Littlefinger is the fucking worst. Hey, you watch how you talk about King Bay. But look, like Tywin said, is more noble to kill 1,000 men on the battlefield than it is to kill a dozen at a wedding. And pardon me one sec. I do not want my battery to die on me. And apparently this mic doesn't want to mute. Hold on one second. Alright. So, make sure you guys can still hear me. Alright, cool, we're good, we're good. Alright, let's see. Wow. Uh, Frank, yeah, maybe I do need a hug. Maybe. Who knows? Let's see here. Let's see. Anthony Vasquez. If it turns out to be the if John turns out to be the hero of the story, that would also mean Rhaegar. That would also make Rhaegar the hero for busting nuts inside Lyanna. Um, that still don't make him a hero. That's still fuckery. That's still fuckery. From Todd Fowler, Q&A. Do you watch any fan films? All right, so you know what I've seen. There was one fan film I saw earlier in the month, and I believe that was Peter Baelish versus Brandon Stark, and it was a pretty decent fan film. Like the acting was a little hit or miss, um, but I will say it was a great attempt, and I think for people who don't really know Peter Baelish's story and why he's kind of why he's done some of the things that he has done, I think that that particular uh, that particular fan film will give you an insight because it shows you the preparation for battle, you know how much uh, Peter is thinking that he's kind of doing the right thing because he's in love with Catelyn. And then also, maybe, possibly, how much Brandon Stark might have been a dick to him. Because Brandon Stark doesn't seem to be the nicest of guys to begin with, and if some little pipsqueak comes and is like, yeah, I wanna fight you for your girl to the death. Like, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen? You know, um, so and then you got to think about it, right? So after that, he gets sent away. Catelyn doesn't talk to him for a long time. He gets sent away like it's nothing. So I think people look at Littlefinger in a vacuum and don't realize Peter Baelish got shitted on when he was younger. Peter Baelish, really got shitted on when he was younger. So, you know, it's not that I don't blame him, but I don't blame him for what he's done. And I know that it sounds oh so horrible. How could you say something so cruel? Listen, man, you can't blame me for the fact that other people are too stupid to see what the fuck he's doing. You can't blame me for liking the fact that the man is cunning. You know. All right, so let's see what we got here. My man Frank. Sadly, we can't have a real opinion on Rhaegar Targaryen until we get some info from George and Neil and Bob. Neil and Bob? Are you talking about D&D? When you say Neil and Bob? I'm not sure. Um, so from AU Pack Mule, and I guess this is going back to Peter Baelish. Don't you think he should have been more grateful to be at River Run? Look, I'm not saying he wasn't grateful to be at River Run. I think he was grateful to be at River Run, but at the same point too, it's like, look, there's only so many times you're gonna clown me before I tell you I'm not in part of your damn circus. You know, yeah, man. Look, people have pride, people have ambition. You can't tell someone who has those two things in abundance that oh no, you're just supposed to stay down here. Just keep it down, keep it down. You'll never be more than what you are. Just keep it down. Nah, you can't tell people that and expect them to stay there. Not when they aspire to more. So I mean, there's a difference between being grateful versus you being subjugated by gratitude. You know, sometimes people get subjugated by their gratitude, and it's like, all right, well, now I'm not even gonna try to do any more with my life because people gave me the opportunity to do this thing, but they told me that this is as far as I should be reaching. So that's where I'm just gonna keep it at. So I think that and I think after the way that he was treated after he lost to Brandon Stark, and I'm not even saying that he that the way Hoster, Tully, and Catelyn treated him, I'm not even saying that it was wrong on their part because him being a ward at River Run and then challenging the heir of a great house to a duel for his daughter's hand. It's like, yo, that's fucking embarrassing. That shit is embarrassing as all hell. So yeah, Peter was wrong, but he was also a kid. You know. Oh wow. Oh wow. D&D two blow. Oh wow. Okay. Oh man. Oh, creative one, Frank. Creative. Oh man. Oh man. See, look, Woodward Tree agrees with me about Rhaegar. You know. All right. So another one from Todd Fowler. Nobody else got any questions? Damn. Q&A. What figure do you think John is based off of? Personally, I would say Arthur Pendragon. Well, yeah, that makes sense because Arthur Pendragon, he was the king that was promised, kind of. Yeah, he was the king that was promised, sword and stone kind of thing. Um, and it's funny because Arthur was not really noble. He was noble born, but he was a bastard, if I'm not mistaken. But then if you look at Arthur, Arthur was like if you go back and look at the Arthurian legends, Arthur was not just like the most noble dude that never did anything wrong. Remember, he got killed by who? By his bastard son. Now, don't get me wrong. Lancelot and Guinevere was on some bullshit too, because you know, They were sleeping together behind the king's back. I remember the first time I heard, found out about that shit, because like when you're a kid and you hear about all these different legends and stuff, uh, it doesn't come like you get the watered down version when you're a kid, right? So the only thing you hear about before you actually open the books, like the real books for yourself, is with King Arthur. You hear about, oh, he was kind of a peasant boy. He got hooked up with Merlin. He pulled the sword out of the stone, and he was proclaimed the king. He did all these great deeds. He went. He got the Knights of the Round Table. Um, and then after that, he married Lady Guinevere. He was the greatest king. And then uh, there was the treacherous Morgan Le Fay. And then after he died, he they threw the sword Excalibur back in the water. The Lady of the Lake took it, and they put him on the boat to Avalon, and he will return as the once and future king or some shit like that. And there ain't been no damn King Arthur ever since. So, oh well. Oh shit, we have my man Game of Theories in the house. Game of Theories, very very awesome channel. And I had no idea he was subscribed to me for a while. Your man is doing serious numbers out there. Respect due, sir. All right, so we got a question from him. Let's see here. All right, what do you think is left for Mira after she gets brand to Winterfell? Will we see Howland, and what part could he play if we do? All right, so when it comes to Mira Reed, yeah, I mean, pretty much after she gets him back to Winterfell, there's not much that really you can have her do, other than maybe they want to keep her around just for defense or whatever, like to defend Bran, last stand kind of deal, and then wind up dying. I mean, I can't see it doing much more than that when it comes to the show. At least, I mean, we have no idea what they're gonna be having to do in the books. Howland Reed, we have to get Howland Reed at some point. I haven't seen anything that would indicate that we're gonna get Howland Reed this season. Um, even with the whole plot leaks, which honestly speaking, the funny thing about it is, with all the talk about these plot leaks that came out a while ago, I don't remember a lot of it. Like I did the videos with Talking Thrones a few months ago, and I don't remember a lot of that shit because I still want to walk into uh, I still want to walk into the season with some sort of surprises. So like I try to mentally block out as much of it as I could. Can't block out everything, unfortunately. That bell can't be unrung. But there's a lot of it that I've forgotten just because, you know. But shout out to Game of Theories. We need to link up and do something. Yeah, Shemandexy. I do a horrible. I think you're Scottish. Sound like you might be Scottish. If not, my bad for fucking up the accent and all that, man. I know British are proud people, but they do have their own different regional national identities and all that stuff. So pardon me. Yeah, had to take a small drink. I was getting a little parched there. All right. Man. All right. So Ion Trone. Ion normally has like some of the best stuff. I'm surprised this time. No, what's favorite? 900 trillion chapters. Oh man. So yeah, it says Aegon is a peasant boy of sorts. Yes, this is true. Frank says that I have a valid point. Nobody should be held back from reaching what they want. But come on, man. PB is like The Westerosi Devil. I can't disagree. I can't disagree. All right, so let's see. Anthony Vasquez says Rhaegar and Lyanna could have legitimately been in love, and Ilya might have been okay with him going balls deep in another woman. I mean, I don't know too many people that are cool with being cheated on, unless you're Frank Underwood. But you know, House of Cards is some totally other shit, though. Don't get me wrong, House of Cards is an awesome show, but you know, I don't know if I can be open relationship kind of dude. Marilyn Bentley. No, the questions are not limited to Rhaegar. Ask whatever you want, whatever you want. Let's see here. So, question from Anthony Vasquez: how did Aemon Targaryen not know Lyanna was Jon's mother? Because he was blind to the facts. Nah, let me stop playing. um. Okay, so honestly speaking, like because all right, so there's the whole thing about Rhaegar and Aemon, and supposedly they kept uh they kept in touch. They kept corresponding through the years. Um, well, you got to think for one, Rhaegar never got to meet Jon at all, so he didn't know what Jon looked like when he was born. And as far as he knows and everyone else knows, this is Ned Stark's bastard. Oh, I got a new subscriber. Thank you. Thank you very much. Crazy thing about it is that person is probably not even in the chat right now. But shout out to Thomas Hayes though. Mm-mm. So, and, oh, you know, and that's another crazy thing. So, yo, here's the ill thing that George has done with this whole thing, where with this series. So, one of the biggest things is the seed is strong. The seed is strong. For the most part, if your kids are yours, you know, for men, if the kids are theirs, the kids usually have their features for the most part. But now here's the thing that I talked about in a video I did before, Babies of Ice and Fire, where I was saying that, you know, I think the whole seed is strong thing has to do not only with genetics but personality as well. So if you're not you know, if you're not that mentally strong, if you're not, you know, super confident in what it is that you're doing, then that means to me that your kids will not come out looking like you, which is for me why all of Ned's kids, with the exception of Arya, really don't look like him, is because Ned says it himself. He's, you know, kind of a weak ruler. Well, not really that he's a weak ruler. Let me clean that up. Not that he's a weak ruler, but for Ned, he keeps on thinking about how he wasn't supposed to really have this life. It was all supposed to be Brandon's, right? So, yeah, you know, maybe Rhaegar wasn't the strong presence that we thought he was. Or it could just be George, you know, like sometimes George is just like, oh no, I just wanted to throw people off the trail, so that's why I gave Jon the fucking Stark features instead of Targaryen features. It was just to throw you people off and nothing else. So it could be that. But, you know, until I get that kind of confirmation, I'm going with uh, the seed was not as damn strong for Rhaegar as people thought. Oh man, JD, my man got to bounce. Yo, you know, shout out to my man JD. You know, he's been putting out this series of a book that he's writing right now. Go check out his channel. Make sure to go and do that. You know, Rogue Watchers. We are gonna get back to doing the Rogue shit, man. We're gonna make it big for you. All right. Shout out to my man JD. All right. Did I see another question in there? Nah, everybody's been talking about a whatchamacallit, the Rhaegar and Aemon thing. Look, yeah, but the whole Rhaegar and Aemon Targaryen deal, um, yeah, with the whole Rhaegar and Aemon Targaryen deal, you know, fucking Ion. Uh, Look, they corresponded back and forth, and I'm pretty sure you got to figure. By the time John gets to the wall, it had been years since he lost his eyesight, which means it's been years since he read those letters. We're talking about 14 to 15 years since he's read a letter from Rhaegar Targaryen. There are going to be details that he's lost, and unless someone told him specifically what Jon Snow looked like, unless he had like the greatest recall ever, he's not gonna remember or think that it's that Rhaegar is Jon's father, and he's not gonna think about Lyanna being Jon's mother. So, Ion Trone top 100 favorite Rhaegar songs. All right, so um, there was that one he sung. I took your girl. Um, let's see here, and then there was the other one he had. Another one was like I should be king. Um, Another one, I love my kids but not their mama. Now let me stop playing around. You know what? That'd be crazy if we actually did get some Rhaegar songs for real. All right, but next up from Marilyn Bentley. Do you think if Rhaegar and Lyanna were do you oh no, do you care if Rhaegar and Lyanna were married or not? Personally, I don't give a shit. People keep on talking about it. Well, see, here's the thing. If we're going with the whole legitimacy issue and if whether they what they did was right or not, etc., morality, um, legalese, then yeah, you got to care about that. And again, people keep on skipping over the fact that he cheated on his wife. He was already married. He could have got a divorce, maybe. I don't know shit. But I'm just saying, man. People focus too much on the Rhaegar Lyanna and how much love they supposedly have, which we don't even know, and they don't want to talk about uh, the fuckery that was involved with that. You can't you can't dismiss the fuckery just because we have Jon Snow. Sorry, you can't. I'm not going to allow that. I will not. All right, so question for Pooh Bear with me. Do you think Jon will change his name if he finds out he is Targaryen? After all this damn time, I mean, he's been Jon Snow, or at least Jon, for the past, 15, almost 16 years. No need to change it now. He'll just be Jon Targaryen. And that's even if he takes the last name, because he may not take the last name. All right, man, Vaf, Vafud, Vafudor, the ever booming. What do you think about Lady Stoneheart giving Jon the last kiss in the books. I mean, it would be poetic, for her to finally have some semblance of fucking decency because Lord knows she was not decent to John while he while she was alive as Catelyn. Um, so if it happens to be a thing where Catelyn, where Lady Stoneheart gives the kiss in order to bring him back, because now she realizes the world needs John, then okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'll you know, we'll see what happens. Let's see here. All right, so from Daryl Hall, do you think Lyanna seduced Rhaegar? Now, this brings me back to the whole Seed is Strong thing. I think it is very possible. I think it's very possible that Lyanna seduced Rhaegar, and with that seduction taking place, Rhaegar not being strong enough to stay faithful to his wife, Seed is not strong. Jon Snow has, either dark brown or black hair. There you go. There's my explanation. Um, I watched the new trailer a bunch. Shout out to my man Don the Kraken Wit. Kraken, I don't know how the hell he did it. I think he's at like fucking 25,000 views on his trailer reaction. So yeah, goddamn Kraken. Shout out to Kraken. God damn it. I don't even think I've broken 300 views yet. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. Really, Old Norse. Ve- Vayfather? Okay, Vayfather. All right, cool, awesome, awesome. See, look, I'm horrible with names unless they're like the super regular kind of Anglo, so, and maybe some Latin stuff because I study Latin, so I'm good with that. Norse, I'm not really good with. Nordic, yeah, Nordic kind of names. I'd be sitting up there like, you're yeah, I'd be sounding all weird and fucked up pronouncing people's names. So, yeah, yo, oh my god, Ion is crazy. He said Rhaegar belonged to all women, not just one woman. Oh man, oh man. Man. All right, so Marilyn's asking about Bran in the trailer and who was that next to him at the heart tree. Um, I'm gonna go with Maester Woken. It's either that or the three-eyed crow, three-eyed raven. But I didn't hear anything about Max Van Sydow coming back, so I'm gonna go with Maester Woken or whatever the dude's name is. I was calling him Maester Coleman last night. It's only chat. Oh man. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a Maester. Um, man. All right. So look, you know what? Whit- Whitley Purnell brings up an excellent point about the fact that she didn't want to marry Robert because she thought that he might cheat on her, and yet she goes and messes around with a married man. Bravo, bravo. Somebody needed to say it. Okay, so from Ty Fowler, what characters on the show do you feel are overrated? Um, Overrated characters on the show. Wow. Um, that is a good question. That is a good question. Characters that I think are overrated on the show. See, there's characters that I think are overrated, and there's characters that most people think are overrated. Like I think most people think, well, not most people. I think the people who are super book purists, and I think the people think that I'm a super book purist. Look, if there need to be changes for the show, there need to be changes for the show. I just don't think they need to fuck around with things and make them stupid. And I think a character that book purists would say is overrated is Braun. Personally, I like Braun. I like Braun. But for the show, who do I? You know what? Unfortunately, I think because of what they gave him to do in the last season, Tyrion has become overrated, and so is Daenerys. They made Daenerys way more powerful than she should be. They made Tyrion stupid as fuck. Um, Jorah Mormont may be a little overrated sometimes. Stannis, Stannis never got his just due in the show, um, unfortunately. So it's hard to really even rate him. Period. Ned, I'm gonna fuck it. Unpopular decision. I'm going with Ned. Ned is overrated. Jon is overrated. Rob was overrated. Yeah. Sorry. All right, so let's see here. For Daryl Hall, I subscribe to the theory, at least in the show, that Baelish witnessed Rhaegar and Lyanna, and he spread the rumor of the abduction to get revenge on Brandon. Wow, I've never actually heard that one. Um, hmm. Wow, that is interesting. I've never heard that one before, but you know what? I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Yeah, I'll buy that one. Wow. I've never even heard that theory before, but yeah, I'll buy that one. Let's see here. So Anthony Vasquez. If John has to choose sides, which does he choose? Danny or Bran in the Night's King? Um, I mean, he's a child of winter. I think he goes with Bran and Night's King. Only if it's going to bring about peace, though. Only if it's going to bring about peace. All right, so for Marilyn Bentley, who do I think is underrated in the show? I think Peter Baelish is underrated because I think that sometimes people don't realize that without what Peter Baelish set up before before the events of the show, we don't get most of what we got in the show. Um, I think Varys is underrated. If they would have given Roose Bolton more to do, I would have thought he would have been underrated. But they didn't. They didn't give him enough to do. So I'm gonna go with with Baelish and Varys for underrated characters, and also Qyburn. Qyburn. Let's see here. All right, so from AU Pack Mule. In fact, he's got a question about Qyburn. Does Qyburn help? Excuse me. Any characters grow their body parts back? I don't think so. Because I think Jamie would have grown his hand back, which that would have been awesome. You know what I would love to see in the book is for there to be some kind of magical enchantment where where his golden hand actually is able to move, where he has sentience over the hand or whatever, control over the hand. That would be awesome. Shout out to Ezra89 in the chat. Let's see here. See, and Marilyn agrees with me about Ned and Rob being overrated. Yeah, let's see here. Frank thinks that Ramsey is underrated. I don't know that anybody thinks that Ramsey is underrated, but man, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, let's see. All right, so for Pooh, bear with me. Do you think there is something of Rhaegar's in the crypts of Winterfell? In the show, I don't know. In the books, I get this from Tony Teflon. Shout out to Tony Teflon. Your man's come up with a lot of theories, and I expect most of them. I don't think all of them, but I expect most of them to be true in the upcoming books. But I don't know. I mean, like if we're going by Teflon's theory, then Rhaegar's harp and possibly his armor is down there. Um, I actually have another theory about John when it comes to armor, and I'm still trying to write that one out. And the brand theory will be out uh, sometime in the next few days. I finally got the damn thing finished. It took me forever to really get it solid, but finally I got the goddamn brand theory finished. So as far as Rhaegar stuff in the Crypts of Winterfell, I do not know. I don't want to lie to you. I just don't know. All right. Give me for 1 second here. All right. So you know what? Saga Poetic. I'm gonna look for that fan film, The Wild Wolf. Unless no, that was the one. That was the one with with Peter Baelish when he fought whatchamacallit. You know his name. When Peter Baelish fought against Brandon Stark. Yeah, no doubt. You know, Daryl. Yeah, that's what I do. I try to answer questions as much as I possibly can. All right. Let's see here. So for Frank, you think we'll ever get to see Ghost meet a dragon? Um, hopefully so. Hopefully so. Dan and Dave were fucking around with the CGI budget. And they really need to stop playing around and let Ghost meet a dragon. Make Ghost useful. Yeah, make Ghost useful again. Make Ghost great again. All right, let's see here. For Marilyn Bentley, there's much discussion in the books about Tywin's body smelling awful. Two questions: do you think Oberyn poisoned Tywin? And let's see, he appeared to be constipated when Tyrion killed him on the privy. And number two, once Tywin was dead, do you think Qyburn used any of his body parts for Robert Strong? So the first one, I will answer. I do think that he might have been poisoned by Oberyn. Oberyn wanted to see him die slow. In the words to Block, fuck you, die slow. My poison makes sure all your kids don't grow. Um, so yeah, it's possible. It's very possible that Oberyn did that, and I will go with that because Oberyn, Oberyn definitely had a vengeance in his heart for Tywin, so I could definitely see that happening. Um, and no, I do not think that Qyburn used any body parts from um, Tywin. I don't think he used any body parts from Tywin. Somehow, nah, I doubt that. Because I mean, they would have to have a particular use, and I don't think that any of Tywin's body parts, especially with the way with the way that Tywin's body was kind of rotting on the inside, I don't think that his body parts would have been any use to Qyburn. So let's see here. I see a little debate in the chat going on about who's overrated, who's not. It is what it is. All right, so Anthony Vasquez. I look, and I will take two more questions after this, and then I gotta go because I gotta set up for another discussion. So from Anthony Vasquez, in the trailer, it looked like Beric Dondarrion was north of the wall. What purpose would Beric Dondarrion have north of the wall? So for Beric, I'm gonna say that he wants to fight against the White Walkers like anyone would. So for him, it's a whole thing of he thinks the Lord of Light has granted him the type of power that he needs in order to in order excuse me, in order to get the job done. And so his whole mission for being there is simply to fulfill his mission of fulfill his mission of defeating the White Walkers in service to the Lord of Light. That's what he's trying to do. That's why he's north of the wall. That is now, and let me clarify. That is his internal purpose. Now, whether or not that is Dan and Dave's purpose for him, totally different story. All right, so from Ezra 89, and then last one before I'm out of here. Oh, my man Lenny just popped up in the building. Wow, awesome, awesome. So from Ezra 89, is Daenerys your favorite character? No, I mean I guess you're new to the channel, so shout out to you. No, my favorite character is actually Peter Baelish, and I know people say, "Oh, he's a despicable human being." Look, I like him for the ambition that he displays. I like the fact that he is take no prisoners. He's gonna do whatever it takes in order for him to reach his goal. Now, I wouldn't have taken those same measures. That's a little too extreme for me. I'm not, a duplicitous person like that. Um, but when it comes to a lot of works of fiction, I like the villains. I like the villains because for the most part, if it's a great work of fiction, a villain isn't just evil because he just has nothing better to do. Villains are normally evil because they've went through a particular trauma and didn't know how to deal with it properly, and so their outlet has always been, I want to get revenge because A, B, and C, and it's not always properly channeled. But I think that this is how we get great results, though. So I gotta give it up to Peter Baelish on that one. All right, so last one for Marilyn Bentley before I go, and shout out to the boy Wonder. Damn, man, dude, just arriving when I'm about to be out. But I still got to shout you out anyway, cause been riding with me for a minute. So, do you think Arya will forgive the Hound? Some say she'll kill him, but I don't think so. I feel she cared for him somewhat at the end because while she left him to die, she didn't kill him. So all right, so here's the thing, right? Arya has been forgiven now. She has definitely already forgiven him, and you know she's already forgiven him. So when she sees him, she is going to try to play the hard role. She's gonna give him the side eye, the ice grill, all that other good stuff for as much as she possibly can. And then she's just gonna wind up breaking down and just like, yeah, yeah, you know what, we good. It's not gonna be super emotional hugs and all that other stuff, but it's gonna be a mutual respect between the two of them, and they're gonna let bygones be bygones, fist bump, and then that's gonna be the end of those two, you know. But it'll be a mutual respect. It's not gonna be like a, it's not gonna be one of those things where it's like, oh my god, you know, Sandor, I love you, thank you for being a father to me. Nah, it's not gonna be one of those things. Excuse me. All right, so you know what? For my man Lenny, since I haven't seen you in a while, this will be the very last one, and then after that, you know, I'm gonna sign off, tell you guys what I'm doing next, etc., all that good stuff. So, um, well, you know what? He wasn't even asking the question, but he's just like he thinks Tyrion is gonna win the Iron Throne. I do not think that Tyrion is going to sit the Iron Throne. It's not in the cards for him. He already knows it. Everybody else knows it. It would be nice. It would be a nice little twist. But yeah, Tyrion sitting in the Iron Throne, not gonna happen. But you know, let's see one more, please. Do you think Littlefinger will die this season? Oh my God! Why did you see? Why did you have to do that? That's not a question I want to answer. Oh man! All right, so look, there's been a lot of speculation that Littlefinger will die. And shout out to Mike Hunt. Yeah, I know you have that just so you can have people say that goddamn name, you bastard. But anyway, look, I don't want to think about it. It's not the way he's going to die in the books. I've already done a prediction video on that one. And that was like I think my second or third video ever. Um, yeah, man, look, in the books he's definitely gonna die. In the show he's going to die. Is he going to die this season? Look, here's the thing. If the Hound does not relay what Peter Baelish did to Ned in the throne room to either Arya or Sansa, and yet somehow they still wind up just deciding to kill him, like just because, like oh it's Peter Baelish. I don't like you, Peter Baelish. I die. I, then fucking, I'm calling 100% bullshit on that. Okay, the Hound has the knowledge. The Hound has to give up the knowledge in order for to facilitate for Peter Baelish to die. All right. Anyway, so listen, I'd like to thank everybody who has come out tonight to watch me. I love doing these things, and I'll be back next Thursday. Do not forget, if you are watching this afterward, to leave a comment in the comment section. You know, you see what it says on the bottom there. Like, share, and subscribe. Um, and I'd love to get a suggestion. I've only gotten like I think I've gotten maybe one and a half suggestions, and I say half because someone just asked where do whores go, and I was like, oh, I guess they must want me to talk about Tyrion. I believe that was Frank that asked like where do whores go. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess he wants me to talk about Tyrion then. All right, I need something concrete. Anyway, so yeah, thank you again to everybody who's been rocking with me live. Thank you to all those who will watch that later. Make sure to share this with all your folks. You know, rate, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. That has been my time, and this is Don Willie saying Vala Do Iris. See you on the other side.